This is Rhea, and this is Just the Who of Us, where we talk about a range of topics including life events, current events, spirituality, entertainment, family relationships, as well as answering listener questions and more. Today with us we have, okay, say your last name for me.
Briette Wardono.
Okay, that's much easier than I thought it would be. I know people look at
Yeah.
mine too and they're like, oh shit, I have to say this.
No, it's definitely a lot easier than people realize. People just get in their heads about it, but it's super simple. Briette Wardono.
All right. So, this actually is Olivia's first podcast, come to find out, her first guesting. So, we're super, super excited to have you here, not only to be your first, but, also to get to know you a little bit. We have a few conversations that we'll be having. So you'll see her face a few times on here. And so today we're going to just kind of get to know you a little bit. I know we talked, but talk to me like we've never met before. I don't know anything about you. And
Absolutely.
so tell me, so we're going to start with your personal journey. And then when you guys see Olivia later, we'll be talking about more professional things, professional career journey topics. But today I want to, just kind of introduce you to my audience and get to know you a little bit in your personal journey that led up to your career as a psychologist.
Absolutely. Great. Well, thank you so much for having me. A little bit nervous, so if I'm talking too fast or my voice is a little shaky, sorry ahead of time. But I'm really excited to be here. Yeah, so like you said, I'm a psychologist now. I'm practicing and living in the Netherlands. So I work out of The Hague, which is just such a funny coincidence still.
Right?
It's such a funny coincidence. And then I live in a small town called Schiedam with my wife and our dog. Um, but before all of this, I was born in the south side of Chicago, lived there until my seventh birthday, and that's when all of the moving began.
Me
So,
too.
really, that
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that's very ironic.
I know. It's
Yeah,
just another one of those like, wow, really?
I know. I seriously, when I was first put into connection with you, I'm like, there's no way that this is her last name, and she lives in North Carolina. That is just so weird.
Right.
Um, yeah, it's just so many more similarities. I was telling my mom I was doing this, and she goes, "Yeah, it's such a small world." And
Right.
like it just gets smaller and smaller the older that you get. And I'm like, that
Right.
is so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, when I was seven, my parents divorced and I moved from South Carolina to North Carolina. So not like a huge move, but it's like an hour and a half. So
yeah, but it's like a whole new area, a whole
uh-huh.
new way of being, new schools. Even like the smallest move at a young age feels like you're a world away from what you're used to.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when I was seven, we moved from the south side to Amish country in Pennsylvania. Like out of all places, it was
Right.
the first time I saw cows or
Oh
like
wow.
chickens or like any type of livestock because we lived in, yeah, the suburbs of Chicago, but still in a city. So all of a sudden, I'm moving for the first time. I'm seeing cows. We have no like city really near us. And we stayed there until I was like 11 or 12. And then my dad got a different job and moved us to Georgia. So that was the first time I moved to the South. And Georgia is where I spent most of like my teenage years up until I was like 16 when I moved again to Ohio. Um, Stayed there for 18 months and then moved again to North Carolina. Stayed there for about 3.5 years, 4 years. And then I moved to the Netherlands, got my master's degree, graduated, moved to Australia for like 6 months traveled around Asia for another month or two, and then eventually moved back to the Netherlands. So this is like the longest place I've ever lived in my whole life.
But that's so cool though, because like I've been a parent for 25 years now, so it's like the thought of me traveling around, it has never been a thought because I've
Yeah.
always got little people. So I mean, I've moved, I'm living in North Carolina and South Carolina throughout my life. That's
Yeah.
like as far as I've gone, and so yeah, I always people are like, because I was talking to somebody else yesterday and they were talking about traveling and just kind of moving
Mhm.
around, and I was like, man, that sounds so cool, and they're like, yeah, but not really, and we're like the grass is greener kind of thing, but
Yeah.
like it's but it's different when you kind of have to, especially like
Yeah.
when you're a kid. We've lived a few different places in the same state,
Mhm.
and those things for my kids transferring schools was kind of difficult at points. So I can only imagine going from different states and different countries can be a little bit more difficult than fun, especially when you're a kid.
Yeah, I think the worst one was leaving Georgia because I was there from when I was in sixth grade, and then we moved in the middle of my junior year. So New
Oh,
Year's Day is when I moved from Georgia to Ohio. And like up until that point, we were like, we are staying in Georgia. Georgia has something called Hope Scholarship. So if you do well in school, you essentially get to go to college for free.
oh wow.
And my sister opted after she graduated to go to North Carolina and move to Charlotte for
Oh
her
nice.
education, which is why we ended up in North Carolina to begin with. So I was like, perfect. I feel so stable here. Like I've been here for like 5, 6 years almost. This is like my place. I felt really settled. I had my group of friends. I had, everything was set up. I learned how to drive. I That was like where I thought that I would live forever. And so
Yeah.
when my dad was like, "Listen, we have to move again. Like we just don't have a choice." I know it impacted as I get older. My mom and I had a conversation about this actually yesterday. And she had a really hard time with that move too. But of course, like the parents have to be the parents and
Right.
kind of
Right.
deal with it. But for me, it was just like absolutely devastating. We were in the car ride going to Ohio, and I would be crying, and then I'd fall asleep. And then I wake up, I see him in the car. I'd look at my mom and start crying again. And I just remember this feeling of like, I can't fucking believe that this is happening again.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
I have to go to Ohio. Like, who goes to Ohio? Who lives
Who moves
there?
to Ohio, right? Like,
Right? Like, everybody leaves Ohio, and now I have to go. Like, what the hell is this? And we visited too, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I hated the school. I hated the system. I hated the town we lived in. My mom was pissed off. And so it was like I feel like that was like quite a challenging experience, and it could have been so much worse for the family. But I
yeah.
do feel like ultimately it's what made me so close with my family at the same time, like
Hmm.
especially my mom. I feel like her and I just feeling stuck there together, we kind of, were able to bond. 16-year-old girl, of course, it's like this all the
That's
time
already an easy
too.
thing to do.
No, and I'm a teenager and I'm still gonna be pissed off, but there was like this solidarity where it was like, okay, my mom gets that I'm mad, and it was
Yeah.
never pushed upon me. And so after like 6 months of us living there, my dad goes, "Oh, well, I have a better job opportunity actually in North Carolina, so we can be closer to your sister." And I remember being like, this man has got to be
Like, are you fucking
kidding
kidding me
me.
again?
Like, are you kidding me? So like we were gonna do it, and then I got this opportunity to do, they call it dual enrollment, where you do
Hmm.
college and high school at the same time.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, I have a year of free college. I literally needed one class to graduate high school.
Hmm.
Couldn't graduate high school early, so I'm like, I'm gonna go to college and just figure my shit out, get
Yeah.
my prereqs done for free, and get the hell out of here. And that's exactly what we did. Um, Ended up in North Carolina, ended up going to UNCC out of all places. I did not expect to go to school in North Carolina, but
Yeah.
I mean, in-state, out-of-state tuition in the States, huge
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah. I went to Grand Canyon University and I did it all online for my bachelor's and both my masters. And
Oh, wow, yeah.
it's fucking expensive. Like over $100,000 in college debt. Yeah.
Oh, I don't even try to think about it.
Right.
It's like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like the one good thing was that I graduated in 3 years, so I finished college really quick. So I was
Yeah.
very young when I graduated too. I mean, I had just turned 21 when I graduated college. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, and now I have to think of what I'm gonna do next. Like,
Right.
I feel like a teenager still.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
so much pressure on somebody.
Yeah.
Um, and me ending up in North Carolina, the Netherlands was literally just random. It was just a random choice to apply to my college that I went to. Um, it was a random, just like I was like, oh, maybe I don't move. That seems odd.
That's a big move.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I know that I was thinking about living abroad and that's why I applied, but like now that it's like here, what am I gonna do? And so I remember like being in panic and was finally living close to my sister again. We spent all of our time together. I was feeling so like good in this space, but it was the program that accepted me. I
Yeah.
was on the wait list for other ones, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I remember going and getting Mexican food with my parents, and we're sitting outside, and my mom and I are drinking margaritas, and I'm like, so maybe I just like take a gap year. And both of my parents just like stopped what they were doing and looked at me, and they're like, that's what?
Maybe you don't.
Why would you do that? Like
Yeah.
I've always been this person. I'm like go, go, go type of person. I was like,
Yeah.
well, I'm kind of freaked out to live so far away from home, you know?
Yeah.
But my parents, and this was something that like really, I think, changed everything for me. My parents were like, we moved you around your whole life, and that could have just been so horrible for you. But
Yeah.
I think it prepared you for this next step. So
Yeah.
I ultimately was like, and I guess I'll do it. And it was like, listen, if you hate it, you come home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was so lucky to have parents that were like, if you hate it, you always come home. If you hate living
Right.
there, you come home. If I
Right.
graduate and let's say when I started my practice, if it didn't work, I could always go home. Like I always had a backup plan, which I think just made those choices so much easier to make.
Yes, I would imagine so. Yeah. Having a solid support system is always beneficial, right? It's always like
Absolutely.
that's what we it's always preferable, I guess is the but having a solid support system, it can kind of make or break the choices that you make for your future. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Like I didn't start college until I was mid 20s.
Oh
And
yeah.
I did that to get my associates in medical assisting because I had worked for as a CNA for 5 years.
Mhm.
And, but then I was like, no, actually, I was like, I had one class left for medical assisting and it was my clinicals. And I didn't have a car at the time. It snowed.
Yeah.
And so, buses don't run when it snows, like actual snow, how it used to snow in North Carolina, not like now.
Yeah,
Like
not
it's
like
so
now where you walk outside and you're immediately wet with humidity.
right, right, like real snow.
Yeah.
And so I called the place that I was supposed to be doing my clinicals, and I was like, "Hey, I ride the bus, and the buses aren't running." And they were like, "Okay, we'll make that notation." They didn't make that notation. They notified the school that I didn't show up, and so the school like put me on probation. And I'm like, "But I called and I communicated, and for that one time."
Yeah,
And then
that's
they were like, no,
ridiculous.
no one, told us anything, whatever. I'm like, that's not my fault. Like, so all I had to do was my clinicals left. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go get my bachelor's in Christian studies instead. Completely changed career fields. I don't work in ministry now. So it's like, but
Yeah, I was like, that's such an interesting switch, and then you don't even do that either.
right. But I did, so I started that. I think I was like maybe right at 30 when I so yeah, now I have a podcast. I'm in mental health and so I'm doing I finished my bachelor's for Christian studies and I really, really loved it. I really enjoyed it. It actually set me on the spiritual path that I'm on now.
Yeah,
I don't strictly practice Christianity, but when I started my degree, I was like super hardcore into it, like
yeah,
overdoing it almost, and like completely changed everything about myself. And then, it's kind of one of those things where once you actually study and dive into something, you're like, oh shit, this isn't really necessarily what a lot of people portray it to be. Like, oh,
yeah,
I actually understand this now. And like, y'all aren't doing a good job of portraying this to the world. Like modern Christianity it's a doozy. And
yeah.
so it kind of like, yeah, my views changed once I actually learned and studied and, started understanding the religion. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna work in ministry, but maybe at some point. I really was interested in like prison chaplaincy.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's so interesting.
yeah, I still really am, but obviously I have to learn about other religions on an academic level, before I can do that. But it's still something that's kind of like back there for maybe one day.
Yeah.
I'm super ADHD, so I have a lot of projects going on at all times.
Oh, yeah. Same.
So, that's just one of those projects back there, maybe for another day. But, but yeah, like I say all that because you were talking about out of state education and how it's so expensive. And I could have done something in North Carolina, but at the time I wasn't thinking about college. At 30, I was working at a restaurant and I
Yeah,
was
of
like, okay, well,
course.
I have this degree now that I'm not probably going to do much with. So that's just there. And they reached out to me and I was like, oh, um, this other school like kind of pissed me off because like I feel like they fucked me over and
Yeah.
because something that was because of weather. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. And so I stayed with Grand Canyon through all my degrees. But yeah, like I could have stayed in North Carolina and
Mhm.
had a lower tuition, but the experiences that I had with that college, I think were worth it. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Well, I
um,
think as well when you're doing something online too, like you get more opportunity to meet more people that are from other
yeah,
places. Whereas, like, sure, when I went to school at UNCC, yeah, I met people that were from other areas as well.
yeah,
But it's like a very specific type of person who typically
right,
goes out of state for school, whereas like online school is so much more accessible
yeah,
for so many more people, which I think just gives you like I don't know, like a more well-rounded experience almost.
yeah. But so we live really close to a college here where I live now. Well, two actually, but and I see these kids like crossing to go to college, go into their classes and everything, and I'm like, damn, if I hadn't had children, I
Mhm.
probably would have gone to college earlier, and I probably would have gone in person.
Mhm.
But I don't know that that would necessarily have gone the same for me. I probably wouldn't be in the same field. I probably wouldn't have done something medical just because that, was the kind of easy thing to get into, which is smart because you always have a job in the medical field. Like they always
Yeah.
need people, right?
Oh yeah.
But I think my life would have gone a little differently.
Yeah.
And not necessarily in a bad way, but I don't think I would have had the kind of broad experiences that I have. And anybody who listens to the podcast, especially this year, I have a lot of people who are not in this country on my podcast, and I
Mm-hmm.
love it. Like I love being able to connect with people from different places. And it is kind of one of those things that you get that experience online, that you get to meet and talk to people who are from places you otherwise never would meet?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I am a huge believer in like things happen for a reason and it had to go the way that it goes. I say that a lot with some of my clients, even in my own practice, where um, I said it to somebody this week where I'm like, listen, I know it was brutal the way that it went, but there's maybe a bigger reason for that. And you don't need to
Yeah,
necessarily think of God or religion in that aspect, but
yeah,
there's no way that things aren't connected.
yeah,
There's too many coincidences. I mean, we've ran into so many coincidences here too, like in like the two short conversations that we've had. So like I
yeah,
fully believe that like things had to go the way they would go. I think I had to leave Georgia honestly when I did because otherwise I think I would have just been stuck there forever.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah,
loved my friends and I loved being there, but I don't think I could have developed the way that I needed to as my own person if I stayed there.
yeah.
It just felt like it was a necessary change. Just like being on the wait list for my top choice, which was a PsyD program in Chicago. I was put on the wait list.
Uh-huh.
And I was like so tempted to wait and see if I get pulled from the wait list. And I'm so grateful that I didn't, that I had a support network that was like, you need to do this and just try
Yeah, yeah,
and see. The worst case is that you come home and you reapply to that program and get into that program and move back to Chicago. All right. What is the worst that could happen?
right, right,
So
yeah,
every time I'm trying something, I'm like, okay, what is the worst, truly the worst that could happen?
right, right.
Most of the time it's not nearly as bad as we believe it is.
Absolutely. That's very true. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk briefly about, because honestly, we could sit here and talk about education and that coincidences and correlations for like the whole next 30 minutes. But I want to cover, and getting to know you, and maybe that's another conversation we can have completely separately.
Yeah.
But I want to, one of the things that we discussed about covering in this episode and getting to know who you are, because it's an important part of who you are.
Mhm.
Your life experience with your figuring out your sexuality,
Mhm.
living in the South. And one thing that I like to point out to people is like things weren't that long ago.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
a sense of when we think back to things like segregation or things like even how people treat people different because of their sexuality, like it's not that it still happens, like
Yeah.
these things that we think of like these big monumental things or these differences or people's judgments, they're not that long ago, and they actually still happen. So the South has kind of been known ruthlessly for a few judgmental factors. You live in this place, and I don't hear people call this anymore. Maybe this is me showing my age, but there's certain states that are called in the Bible Belt.
Oh, I say it all the time.
You do? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I fully am like, I grew up on and off in the Bible Belt.
Yes.
Absolutely. I believe that.
Yeah. And that's the three kind of main things that I took from what this means is, for one, religion. It's a
Hmm.
heavily Christian area, and it used to be heavily like Baptist, I
Hmm.
think. And then also, sexuality is like a big thing that's known to be judged in this belt, this stretch of states. And also alcohol. Now, I don't know if this has changed because I don't really buy liquor like that, but I know it used to be that within the Bible Belt, stores stopped selling alcohol at certain times and like didn't
Yeah.
sell alcohol on Sunday, and that was kind of like a thing across this belt that apparently didn't happen in the rest of the world or the rest of the country.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
But those are the three, I think three kind of big themes surrounding this Bible Belt. And so when we think about and the alcohol themes, the alcohol portion goes back hundreds of years.
Yeah.
So I think like the prohibition, and people are like, okay, well, now we're going to regulate this. I don't know why it's just in these certain states. But it's definitely, and I guess maybe it has something to do with the prohibition, but it's just been a thing. So
Yeah.
alcohol regulation after certain times, but you can travel a little bit farther out and you can get it whenever.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when we like moved back to Ohio and seeing liquor in grocery stores and
Mhm.
gas stations. I was like, the taboo.
Right,
Clutch your
right. Like,
pearls. What do you mean you can buy vodka in the grocery store, on a Sunday, any day? No way.
yeah, on
Yeah.
right on a Sunday it's crazy because absolutely not on a Sunday. Have you lost your
Yeah.
mind?
Or even like later in the evening, there's no way. I can
Yeah,
recall times growing up where my mom is a very social person, loves to throw parties, loves to be around people. And I can recall like being like, "Oh, we have a party that we're gonna have, but we need to go to the liquor store like now, otherwise we're not gonna be able to get anything."
right, right.
Sorry. Locha, get away from the stairs. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
She's a 12-year-old dachshund, so she's
Oh,
and she is like gonna throw herself down the stairs. So in the Netherlands, we have very steep and like curved stairs. They're the if,
that
they're
sounds
like
scary.
memes online. You can Google like Dutch stairs, and you'd be like, "What the hell is this?" So I have to be very careful that she doesn't jump down there. Here, let me move
Oh,
my book bag so you can sit there. There you go. There you go, darling. Sorry. She's
no,
very high
you're fine.
maintenance.
That's I have a pit lab retriever mix and he's like a baby. He will literally sit in your lap if you let him. But he's like
Oh, that's so
65
sweet.
pounds. So,
That is so sweet. I love a pity. I love those dogs. If
but
my
that's
dog, if
another,
our dog now did not hate big dogs, we would have adopted one.
yeah. Mine is like territorial when it comes to big dog. He hates little dogs, and we have a little dog, but he was already in the house when the big dog came.
Oh
And
yeah.
there was a little tension there for a minute, but they got over it, What
Yeah.
my big dog got over it. And but yeah, he doesn't like big dogs either. He's like he 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 doesn't like little dogs in the sense of like I'll eat you,
Yeah.
but if he sees a big dog, he's kind of like more territorial, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Like,
I had a dog for a few years. We had to put him down last year, and he was a street dog from Romania. It's very common. So in Europe, we don't, especially in the Netherlands, we don't really have dogs in shelters. We don't really have homeless dogs that need homes. Um, so they kind of bring them in from other countries that have a lot of street dogs, and Romania is one of them. So I got him from Romania. He's this teeny tiny little guy, uh, teeth sticking out, tongue dangling out, the cutest thing in the whole world. I loved him so much. And he hated big dogs, and it was always with me. So he was like, if even Locha, our dog now, comes close to me, he'd be like, at her. But he loved her, did not love her near me. Oh, I think you're muted. Oh, there you go.
whole time I'm over here just like, yeah, uh-huh. And then Lord. Well, anyway.
I've done that so many times. It's so embarrassing when you accidentally do that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so oh, that's what happened. I cleared my throat and just never unmuted apparently. So
Oh, yeah.
anyway, But yeah, so living in the Bible Belt, there are, there's weird rules and there's even weirder laws if you ever get a chance to look those up, like things that you're like, what the hell that exists?
Yeah.
But but yeah, there's and as we know, some of one of those is stigmatization over sexuality. And
Yeah.
so your story was interesting to me because I feel like there's a lot of people who can relate to it,
Yeah.
who, in their, and even sometimes go on to marry the people that society accepts them marrying, and then they end up unhappy and divorced, and then their kids have broken homes and, everything like that. And not that I'm judging people because I've been divorced, so not me at all judging, broken homes, but it is a thing that people a lot of times do because they feel like society accepts them more this way.
Yeah.
So tell me, or tell us rather, a little bit about your journey kind of from young adulthood into kind of figuring yourself out, living and where you lived and that kind of, okay, well, I need to be like this so that people will accept me and, getting to where you're like, you know what? I don't give a fuck what y'all think. This is what makes me happy and I'm gonna be happy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of like my big developmental years were really taking place in Georgia. So, when people start dating for the first time, have their first kiss, all of that. Um, and I remember when I moved to Georgia, I used to be called a Yankee as like an insult all the time. I was constantly bullied for being a Northerner in the South.
Mm,
Um, I had a funny accent, which has toned down because I lived in the South for so long.
right.
Um, I was loud. We had different like cultural norms and like even just how we spoke to people. Like
Yeah.
I remember learning that bless your heart was an insult and being like, that doesn't make any sense. And like I told my mom's like, the neighbors keep saying bless your heart. And I'm like, they're being mean to us,
Oh my
mom. And we
gosh.
were both like, oh my God. So, like, just we don't do that where I'm from, you know? Like,
Right.
when you're from the Midwest, it's like, go fuck yourself. And you also say that when you like somebody, it's like, ah, go
Right.
fuck yourself. And then you're all laughing.
Right.
So, it was so different, just like in that regard. I felt like a whole new world. And then we were Catholics living in a Christian area. And then we stopped practicing, like we stopped going to church when we moved to Georgia because we just couldn't find one that we liked. So then we were
Yeah.
also non-religious. We were all from the north. We were all loud. We have different accents. We cuss like no other. You know, there were so many things that made me different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember starting middle school and all of these girls, we between like sixth and seventh grade, so many of the girls started like being interested in boys and talking about how everybody's dating each other and having their first kisses, right? And all of these things and becoming like really almost like hypersexualized.
Yes.
And before I moved there, I was still playing in the dirt,
Yeah.
you know? Like
Yeah.
growing up, like living in Amish country nowhere, we played in the freaking dirt and like dug holes and killed bugs and collected rocks and go swimming. It never went into my mind that people would start having crushes on people.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the first time that I realized, like, okay, it's time to like play a role. And
Right.
luckily, I was super into theater and super into acting, and I always thought that I would become like a famous actress. So I was like, okay, this is like my first role, the role of a lifetime. I'm
Right.
going
Right.
to be the perfect Georgia girl, right? I'm
Yeah.
gonna make friends. I'm going to date, I guess. Like, I remember having a boyfriend in sixth and seventh grade. We were in choir together. And I remember in choir, he tried to kiss me once. And I looked at him, I said, what do you think you're doing? He's like, well, I'm trying to kiss you. I'm like, no, no.
No.
And I remember that happening like anytime like the choir group would get together outside of school, and I'd be like, don't, no. I don't even want you to hold my hand, yet alone give me a kiss. Disgusting.
Right.
You know, probably could have been a sign. I just kind of figured I was just, not at that point yet. You know,
Right. Not there yet. Yeah.
like I just hadn't gotten there yet. And then seventh grade comes around, and that's seventh and eighth grade is when I'm introduced to like the hardcore emo scene. So then I became a scene kid. I don't know if that probably ages me too. If you know what I'm talking about with the big hair, the bows, the heavy metal music.
Oh,
You
I have to see these pictures. I have to.
know,
That's hilarious.
I have so many. I'll find them. I'll have to send them. I'll send them to you in an email. They're so funny. Just like, type
Uh-huh.
of photos and stuff. And so then, like, I went from being weird because I was a new kid. No one is new. No
Yeah.
one moves there at that age. I'm from the north. And then soon after that, I kind of realized that, like, I really love this type of music. I go to local shows. I was always going to see bands play. And so I became the other again because of how I dressed, how I looked, what I listened to.
Yeah.
And so I kind of always fell into this other space. But then there's this aspect of otherness that feels so much scarier because there
Yeah.
I didn't see a gay straight alliance in high school, for example.
Yeah.
I knew one lesbian in high school, and I don't know if she would ever remember me, but she probably thought I was such a creep because I'd be like so interested in her.
Yeah.
She was a few years older, so she hung out with like the older kids in my group. And I never really spoke to her, but I remember just being so interested in her, you know?
Yeah.
Again, probably should have been a sign. It probably should have been a sign in seventh grade when my best friend and I would like have sleepovers and we would cuddle all night, or like we would go into the pool and then take a shower together, still in our bathing suits, not
Yeah.
naked. We're still teenagers, but like we would
Right.
shower in our bathing suits together. And like I would get so jealous when she would have boyfriends or other friends coming over. And like there was all of these like alarm bells going off, but
Yeah.
no one talked about it or spoke to me about it. I never really knew that it was an option.
Right.
So by the time I hit high school, I'm like, again, the performance of the lifetime. I'm playing the good old-fashioned straight girl. I'm already too different. I don't want to touch being any more different.
Right. Tone it down a little bit. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm
Yeah.
having boyfriends and hanging out with people. And I remember at one point, I think I was like 15, and this was when, if my mom listens, sorry, mom, I'm 30 now. I'm 30, so it's allowed. But like 15, 16, when you start drinking and like I mean, you lived in the South, you'd have bonfires, get drunk, and like sleep at somebody's house, you know? I wasn't going out and making trouble. We were just lighting fire and drinking beer.
Well,
Um,
see, I didn't drink that young, but
oh,
I got pregnant at 14. So, like different bad unhealthy choices being made,
oh yeah, absolutely unhealthy choices. And I was fully peer pressured into drinking for the first time,
Right.
you know?
Right. Yeah.
Um, but I remember that would happen and like some of the girls would kiss and I'd be like, what is that? And I remember one of my friends kissed me and I was like, what is that? And like
Right.
15, I'm like, what's going on? 15, 16, and like feeling more flustered when one of my girlfriends is like, oh, we should kiss. Then like when the boy I was dating be like, I love you. Like, I want to go on a date with you. Give me a kiss. Like I would be like,
You're like, back up.
ugh. But I did it because I was performing.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
I remember like one of the first times something like that happened at a party where girls were kissing and stuff. I said to one of my friends later, what is going on? Like this is making me feel so like different inside of me and like I'm like finding women like way more attractive now. And like, I don't know what happened. Like something switched in me is kind
Like
of
my
how I,
senses woke up. Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. And so I like talked to one of my closest friends thinking that like maybe, I don't know, she can help somehow. And I can distinctly remember being told, everybody is attracted to women. Women are pretty. Men can be kind of gross. You're fine. Just keep
I
going.
mean, that's not completely wrong. It's true though.
I mean, like, super fair. Again, now as an adult, I'm like, fair. She just didn't understand what I was saying, and I didn't know how to word it because it's so scary to even try to introduce those
Right.
topics.
Yeah.
And then, boom, we're gone. We go to Ohio. And in Ohio, I was just too focused on getting the fuck out of Ohio that, like,
Right.
I, I had like three friends. That was it. That was enough. I could not be bothered to do anything else. I had a boyfriend, but we were just like really good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I left Ohio, we just stopped talking and it sucks, but I kind of was just like, okay. Like I had a few days where I cried, but then I was like, all right, whatever, let's move on.
Right. Yeah.
But like, move back to the Bible Belt. Got to
Hmm.
put it on that good old performance where I'm already so different. I already look so different. The last thing I
Yeah.
need is to have this other thing over my head, like another signal of like, bully me,
Right.
basically.
Right. Yeah.
And I just stayed deeply closeted until I met, when I was working in a research lab, I met a girl who told me she was asexual. And this was the first time I really like had a friend who was a part of the community,
Yeah.
who I was close enough to ask questions. We'd spend a lot of time together in the lab. I remember saying to her at one point, like, I'm kind of freaking out over here. And she's like, why? What's going on? Like, we had a quiet day in the lab. She's like, what's going on?
Be
I'm
quiet
like,
day in the lab.
so you met my, I was like, you met my boyfriend, because I had a boyfriend at the time. And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, I have no interest whatsoever in anything sexual with him. I love him as a person.
Yeah.
We get along so well. We have so much fun together. But he's like so serious about me. And I just like, I'm almost like, ugh, about it, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm not interested. I I don't want to even like think about having sex with him. There's like no intimacy there. And so I asked her, how did you know that you were asexual? And she went, whoa. Maybe explore the fact that you could like women
Right.
before you
Right.
start saying that you're asexual.
Right.
And that was the first person in my whole life who ever said that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's just too scary to think about. So, like, I
Right.
played around in my own mind with like different labels. I'm like, okay, maybe I'm bisexual, maybe I'm pansexual. And I was like, oh, pansexual seems like a good one because I don't give a shit who people are. I just like people.
Yeah.
And so when I left, when I graduated from uni and I was moving here, I was like, okay, now's my, that was kind of like my chance to break things off with this boy, start new. No one knows me. Everyone else is so different. Like, this is my chance. So I move here, break up with the boy, and I start telling everybody that I'm pansexual. I was like, I'm just going to start off like that.
Right. Right. I'm just gonna test the waters a little bit.
Yeah. And yet I still automatically went into the role playing. I dated boys. I went on dates with men. I didn't date women at all. And at one point, I was dating this guy who was absolutely wonderful. And he was very, very serious about me, a few years older than me. And I just had this moment, and I had started talking with this one girl at school, and we were like talking nonstop. And I would be like waiting for her to text me. And he would text me instead. And I remember being like, "Ugh, I'm just
Ugh.
not gonna respond to it. Check my phone again. Oh, she texted me and like
Right.
responding. I was like, I have what a lot of my friends deem to be like the best guy, right? He was smart, he owned his home, he had a great job, he was so kind, so understanding, so patient. truly wonderful. He's a dad now. God bless. I'm so happy. But like really,
Like
wanted
he
that
did okay.
life.
He ended up
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he ended up wonderful. And I was just like, I can't do this. Like he's telling his family about me. He's talking to me about if I want kids. Like I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't. And so I kind of like freaked out, abruptly ended things in a very not nice way. Almost immediately went to this other girl's place. And that was the first time I ever kissed a girl. And I was like, well, I guess there's no going back now. I guess
Right.
this is it now. And it immediately I knew. It's like your body just knows.
Yeah.
And it was the first time where I felt like I understood when people were talking about when you kiss somebody and you get butterflies, you get all this excitement and you want to keep kissing. That was like the
Yeah.
first time that I could really feel that. And it didn't feel like I was trying to feel it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I talk about this briefly in my autobiography. When I was like late teens, I worked at IHOP in Charlotte, and I had two coworkers there. One, she um not presented herself, but she identified as a lesbian at the time. And there was a gay man. Now, mind you, I was not used to being around anyone who I knew was anything but straight. And,
Yeah.
religion and all these things taught me that that was a sin and it was gross and blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah.
I remember there were two girls who came in and they were like playing footsie under the table. They were like being flirty and stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm not taking them. Like, you guys take this table for me. And my coworkers were like, why? What's your problem? And I'm like, I don't feel comfortable. Like, that's making me uncomfortable. And like, they gave me shit. And I was like, oh, like, I didn't even realize that I was doing anything wrong, right?
Yeah, because everybody else in your life was probably doing the same stuff.
Right. I've heard people make comments like and certain people in my family they'll see somebody like two guys kissing on TV. Oh my God. And I'm like, oh, shut
Yeah.
the fuck up. But I ended up having my first female sexual experience with that coworker who I was super judgy about when I
Yeah.
first met her because I didn't even know at that time that she was bisexual, but she had gone through a really messy breakup with a guy, so she was lesbian at the time.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anything about her sexuality, and she told me she was like, "I'm a lesbian," and he was like, "I'm gay," and I was like, "Oh fuck!" Like
And I
I just
like you
admitted
guys. Like,
secretly,
wait,
I
what?
love you guys. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? Like
Yeah.
yeah, you ignorant asshole. Like, and then,
Yeah.
and then I started having conversations, and I'm like, oh, they're literally people just like me. Like, how ignorant and disgusting am I? But it's like one of those things, that's how you grew up. But I don't believe that because you grew up a certain way, that's just how you are. Like, we can
Yeah.
grow and evolve and have conversations. And most of the time, when people have issues with people, it's because they don't understand that person. And that includes
Exactly.
they don't understand this lifestyle or whatever the case may be. People have this fear of things they don't understand and they treat people badly because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I have been telling, and like, my family is still in the South, and I have been saying, like, if your neighbor is like, because my mom has some like pretty conservative and intense neighbors, and I'm like,
Mhm.
let them talk to me for 15 minutes,
Talk, have a
you know?
conversation
And
with
then,
people.
and then
Yeah.
I'll tell you, by the way, when I'm talking about being married, I'm married to a woman. And on top of that, I'm married to an Asian woman. Like I'm not even in a same race relationship, you
Right,
know? I have that double
right.
whammy. Um,
Same.
so I'm like, and she's an immigrant, and I'm an immigrant. Like, okay, yeah, we'll take
Technically,
sidebar.
yeah. I mean,
She's like, yeah,
it's,
I'm also an immigrant.
no,
Sorry.
I joke because unfortunately I married a man, but
The
My
amount of
husband's
women
like,
I hear say that, I'm like, oh.
I mean, I love him. He's like absolute perfection.
Oh no, of
But
course.
at this point in my life, if we ever didn't work out, I wouldn't go after any other man. Men are just gross and they're ridiculous. And I know women can be too. My husband was like, but do you want to deal with a woman's hormones and your hormones? And I'm like, that's I didn't think about that.
Yeah. But I will say, unless you're synced, then you're kind of fucked. But when you're not synced, there is a level of understanding, kindness, compassion, and care that a
That's
woman
true.
can give a woman that like a man just can't
Yeah, like I get
understand.
you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had a hysterectomy years ago, so I don't have to worry about that. So, but now
Oh,
I'm in perimenopause, so that's a whole another hormonal thing. But yeah, it's like
we can't get
it's
away from it, can we,
it.
as
I
women? It's just
know.
like one thing after another after
Take it
another.
out, and then like you still, oh, I still have to deal with hormones. That's fucking beautiful.
Like, great. Love that for me. I'm so excited to deal with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, she's made an appearance, but it's the only
No,
way she
you're
stays
fine.
calm. No, don't lick me. Don't lick
That
me. Okay, I love you too. Here, why
was
don't you sit front ways and say hi?
Hi. What's
She's
her name?
going blind.
Oh,
Locha. Her name's Locha.
Mocha.
She's going blind. My mom calls her
Oh,
Momo because she can't say Locha.
hi. Oh,
Uh, and she always has a mohawk. So,
that's cute.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I have to go get my son.
Oh, right, of course.
I was trying to like ask my husband, I was like, hey, could you maybe grab him? And because he's looking at cars today. And so he was like, oh, I'm still at the dealership. And I was like, fuck. And so I texted my daughter, my older, and I was like, hey, are you home? And she said no. And I was like, shit.
Like, damn it, I'm trying
Well,
so hard here,
I'm
people.
trying here, right? Because like I want to continue this conversation. But I think honestly, this could just be a two-part conversation because we can continue the conversation in another episode and then kind of branch off into your your journey, your personal life to your professional journey, and
Yeah.
it could just be a two-part. I've done that before, so
Okay, cool. Yeah,
yeah.
and it's so connected because I mean, once I was like, okay, no, I'm just gay. Like that's cool.
I'm
That
just kidding.
immediately like changed what my career was gonna look like, I think, pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, because sorry. It impacts kind of the audience that you want to reach, right? And mental health is such an important thing in
Hmm.
this community because of things like stigma and lack of support and things that people go through
Yeah.
when, just simply being a part of this community just for simply having the emotions and the thoughts and feelings that they have that a lot of other people have, but they just hide because of society or religion or whatever the case may be. And people still experience these things. They just stigmatize other people for showing it and living their lives
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's insane how much it's judged when it's like just because like same with like gay men. I have a lot of gay men friends. I don't have that many queer women in my life, but a lot of gay men I have. And there's always this thing of like, oh, I'm cool with it, but don't hit on me. It's like, bitch, you're not my type anyways. Like when women say that, I'm like, you're not my fucking type. Like I
Right.
still have a type and I still have standards and you don't meet them. Like what is
No, but that's true too, because just because someone is attracted to any certain sex doesn't mean that they're attracted to anything that moves that has that genitalia or not. Like,
Yeah, it's always so shocking to me. And I remember the first time that I said that to somebody, and I think it was like on behalf of a friend where I'm like, he's not gonna hit on you anyways. Like, get your head out of your ass. They were like,
right.
what? And I'm like, you're not hot. Like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like,
Damn.
my friend here is hot. You're not. Like, I'm just not
Right.
gonna. But I am known to be the male demasculator in my friend group. So I am a bit harsh.
It's fine. We need more people to take some people down a notch anyway.
Yeah, some people just need it. Like truly, they just need it.
Right.
No.
Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. But like I said, we're gonna branch this conversation off and make it a two-part conversation because there's a lot to talk about here. And we're having fun and we're talking about fun things, but at the same time, it is a really important conversation because it impacts people's mental health. And mental health is, kind of what I like to focus on mostly on the podcast and in life. So you know, we'll we will continue this conversation um, and focus more on the career aspect and what kind of drives you to focus on the audience that you focus on. And again, I really want to thank you for letting me be the first podcast that you have ever been on. That's a really, really big honor. And I hope that you had a great experience and we've got multiple things to talk about. I can't wait to have you back to chat more.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. Hopefully, I did a good job. But like honestly, it just truly feels like a conversation. It felt so easy to do. And I'm a yapper, so I probably could have moved through these things faster, but I like can't help myself. So,
But it's all important information because it gives us, it gets us to know you. And
yeah.
that's what we want. We want to get to know you and get to know you as a person and understand and then, see how maybe you can help people that are listening through your services. So
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
you
I
are
was so
very
nervous. I was like, this is going to be like a really big make or break. Because my wife was like, you need to start a podcast. I'm like, let me try this out first and then see. So much easier than what I was
I'll
like
come
getting in
on.
my head. Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely will invite you if I do one.
Anybody who mentions to me writing a book or starting a podcast, I'm always like, hell yes, do it. My
Yeah.
first year of doing this podcast, it was literally just people I knew and it was audio only.
Mhm.
And then I had like no external mic. It was just my computer mic, an older computer. Like it was horrendous. But now I have
Now
audio, I
you
have
got a setup.
video, and now I have a setup. Yes.
Yeah. Fortunately, I'm married to a musician, and she's like, I have everything that you
Perfect.
do it. Just sit down and do it. So who knows?
Perfect. All right.
All
Bye.
right, I'll talk to you soon.
Check us out on YouTube at Rhea Higgs, ReahHagues. You can also keep up with us on Instagram at Just the Who Podcast.